got a guy
What a
like that, that's built
shot.
like that, the 6'4", that we got to translate like that.
They got Jordan Davis last season. They bring Fletcher Cox back in Philly. So I'm sitting there like, we need to put something on this offensive line to combat that. What is going on? Welcome back, everybody. The 53-man roster is set. We are past the deadline, and some surprising cuts, some surprising guys got snatched, and we even grabbed up a couple of dudes from elsewhere as well. Here to bring that to you. So off the top, I think we should talk about the Kelvin Joseph was gonna get cut. We trade him for Noah I from Miami, and I mean it's a project, but I'm assuming like Will McClay and that scouting staff did their homework on this guy, and it's somewhere that they see a fit for.
Yeah, but it's like they traded a project for a project, right? And then once you see the players that we lost, like what I mean, they got claimed like Isaiah Land, and I mean obviously Jabril Cox, they must didn't what I mean favor him, what I mean, that lineup, obviously, what I mean, just them keeping 3 linebackers. Obviously we got Malik Jefferson back, but I just felt like it was some other moves we could have made there. Obviously I'm not too mad at the Kelvin Joseph move itself. He out the door. What I mean? But the dude they got, I mean, I honestly, I just had to say I got to go do some more film work on him, check him out a little bit more. But I mean, early indication for me is, I'd rather had a pick, or I'd rather just kept some of the players we had. What I mean, honestly.
That's what I mean, and that's kind of where I was going with it when I was saying like I just hope like the coaching staff, like maybe this is a guy that they liked a few years ago. They finally had an opportunity to get their hands on him. So hopefully that's the case, man. I mean, I don't think we brought Dion in, but
I
hey, it's a
mean,
body,
he was a former first round pick though,
right?
and Dan Quinn kind of he sees what he sees, and what I mean, he goes after him, and he kind of just a lot of times make a little bit out of nothing, man. We see it all the time. We see Javon Curtis and a lot of names that we probably, coming in through the door, what I mean, we didn't think much of them, and then, I mean, years later, we'll be like, oh, this is a valuable piece of this team. So we'll see how it plays out.
I am kind of surprised, man. We've been waiting on the Jabril Cox return / arrival, and all we ever saw was a few flashes from him before he got banged up for real. So I am kind of surprised to see this coaching staff moving off of him. This is somebody I thought we would see move into a starting role for the Cowboys.
Well, I don't even think the plan was to move off him. I really think they went to this thing thinking, what I mean, they could claim and they could bring him back, but what I mean, he chose. They was interested in bringing him back, and he chose Washington. And honestly, who can blame him, right? I think he looked at the writing on the wall. He see the guys in front of him. Where can he get his playing time at? What I mean,
Sure.
not to talk too down on another team situation, but the linebacker core in Washington isn't really a strong suit. So I think he sees a clear view of what I mean, getting playing time. I think we would have brought him back. What I mean, whether that would have been over Malik Jefferson or along with him, I do think it was an option. And I like the upside of Jabril Cox, but for some reason it just didn't work out. I mean, you think how the season started. We thought he was going to hop right in, and then the preseason game started. And what do you know? Overshown to start over, right?
Right.
And then Overshown gets hurt, and little do you know, Harper is starting over, man. He's still in there with the third string guys. So whatever it was, whatever he was showing at practice, and even when he played, like we talked about previous, like he just was a little hesitant, and it just never clicked all together. Maybe he need more time, but he will get a play in Washington. So maybe just what I mean, actually getting out there, getting those reps in real time, maybe it'll do wonders for him, but just not here.
Yeah, I do. You're probably right. I bet you they were trying to do that little roster manipulation, and there was probably like a disloyalty thing to it from his side too. So I do get it, trying to making that decision to go over to Washington, and they can use all the help they can get.
What's up with Washington? Keep stealing our players too.
Hey, bro,
Like
didn't they steal what's his name last year? Big boy,
Ridgeway.
Ridgeway. That's wild,
And I'm still irritated by that. Like
right?
little things like that, you keeping the Tristan Hill and what I mean, Ridgeway. I mean, it doesn't matter. We got Mozzie now and whatever, but they be poaching, bro, for sure.
Yeah, it is kind of wild.
Let you know how
That
they felt about our our player development and what we got going on in Dallas.
they might as well just put a star on the side of that helmet.
Facts.
The no, the questions we had with the linebacker room and the concerns rolling into the season with 3-man. I still feel like this is something that needs to be addressed, and I don't know how, where, or like why, what resources are available. But that Overshown injury, I think, is gonna, create some problems in that linebacker group.
It is, but when you think about it's not so much Overshown, right? Okay, let me take that back. Overshawn was going to play a big role. Obviously, he wasn't going to be a traditional linebacker. He kind of was going to be everywhere with it. And we know how Dan Quinn like to use those guys. You know what I mean? But as far as like the depth, that we got at linebacker, I think that's what scares me the most, right? You got three guys, LVE, Clark, and obviously Harper, right? Three guys, right? But somebody to play that overall, you got the safeties that you want to kind of fill in and things like that. But what happens when you lose a LVE? Like you're
Right.
gonna have a safety, a 210 player coming in and taking on blocks, filling gaps, and same for Clark. You know what I mean? So that's the only thing that kind of make me iffy there. I don't feel like we've done there yet. I think we'll sign some more players, but at least we got Jefferson in the practice squad. I was happy to see his name pop up, so we got some insurance. You know what I mean? A little bit.
No, absolutely. And you're right. They definitely will move the safeties around in the box. But as you mentioned, how much of a beating can those guys really take in the box if the depth isn't what we think it is? They did let go of your boy. I believe Farniak got the boot.
He can
And
go for sure. He can
and
go.
then we went Brock Hoffman made his way back, to the practice squad. We scooped up Sean Harlow. I believe he came from the Giants. So I mean, we did bring in some new bodies into the O line room as well. So maybe we can just get some looks and try to develop some further depth there.
Yeah, it seems like they kind of just was tackling like this center, and what I mean, looks like they're looking for players that could fill in that center just in case. I don't think what I mean they had a guy, and if you think about it, Farniak was kind of our backup center. You know what I mean?
Right.
If Beatis was out, so the fact that they let Farniak go, and you see Brock Hoffman and the fellow you just speak of, Harlow, they looking for these guys that can come in and they like their guys that can be versatile, but especially at center. So it's something they're looking for at that position right now.
Absolutely. And then who do you think would you say is your surprise cut? The guy that you were most surprised that was released?
For me, it's weird, man. I thought Bohanna, I mean him, he was one. I thought Bohanna for sure. They didn't even bring him back on the practice squad, which is weird to me. I was thinking the more bigger guys, the better. You know what I
Right.
mean? You got two run stuffers, you got Mozzie, obviously. Then you got the big boy Hankins, but outside of that, you don't have another guy like that. Osa can play both positions. Gallimore was a guy who he had his spots, he flashed here and there, but I kind of thought the writing was on the wall. He made it anyway. So that was a surprise cut for sure. And then I just thought Isaiah Land, I didn't think they should have exposed him to the waiver wire. You know what I mean? You got a
Right.
guy who's, has a lot of traits as a pass rusher, and teams value that. You know what I mean? It's one of the most valuable things out here. And I'm not surprised that, what I mean, they expose him there and the coach hop on it right away. You know what I mean? And if it wasn't them, I'm pretty sure it was a lot of teams lined up to make that move.
This just in. I'm sorry, I just got the alert. We just signed former Bucks and Packers DT Willington Prevalone to the practice squad as well, and now the practice squad is officially full. So that's another guy we're gonna have to dive in on.
See,
Uh,
they go sign somebody else and don't get Bohanna. See what
exactly.
I'm saying? So it's a lot of guys we thought what I mean, was in favor that really wasn't. But there's a lot of names that I'm happy to see back. Like when they cut Sean McEwen, I really thought I was like, damn, that's weird. Like I really thought they was gonna stick with four tight ends. Obviously, they bring him back. Malik Davis, even though he got outplayed, they found a way to get him back on the roster. So I think there's two solid key pieces. Jalen Marino Cropper, you keep a guy like that in the building, young talent. And then, like at the end, preseason with Will Greer, the guy he was having a connection with, Tyler, was it Ty Johnson, Billy Johnson? He was making plays, and you know what I mean. So they got some nice young pieces in there, man. We'll have to see, man.
I think my probably surprise cut would have been Jabril or although they were trying to get him back, him or Bohama. But a couple of interesting guys that we kept. Your boy Hunter Loop, how you say it, Lupic,
I call him Luke.
Hunter Luke, man.
Luke.
So
I done heard it a lot of different ways.
fullback.
We gotta give him a nickname at this point.
That's what that
Call
baby
call him
you.
we call him Moose Jr. But
There we go, MJ. The
hmm
also Jalen Brooks made it all the way, so I was kind of surprised to see that
yeah,
one.
for sure. I thought they would keep five only.
I'm just going down the list here. Neville's probably the most surprising one that we kept. I really thought we would have kept Quinn Bohanna over Neville Gallimore at this point. So I really do wonder where Neville is in his development.
And I don't think they're done yet. Obviously, it's certain moves to be made. Obviously, they got to find a way to get CJ Goodwin on the 53-man roster. There's no way he gonna stay there, right? You know what I mean? You see him sitting on there. But obviously, we solid that defense, and I tell you another one that surprised me, Junior Fajoko, right? And we didn't really see him get the reps or anything. I mean, he flashed in that last preseason game, but it seems like the Cowboys prioritize this last draft class and trying to just keep everybody they could. And even if you think about it, damn near everybody made the roster.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So they damn near kept everybody, but the class from 2021, we seen a lot of guys go. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You know what I mean? A lot of guys is leaving. So I mean, out with the old and with the new, man. So they got some fresh blood. They didn't want to expose the waivers. They feel like they good up front. You know what I mean? And they got some players they want to develop. So here we are.
absolutely. And another surprise body man, Eric Scott is going to have a chance to prove himself with Jordan Lewis getting activated off the pup. I don't know
Ooh.
yet if he's playing week one, but we also have your boy Nashawn Wright on the IR, so he's out at least the first 4 weeks. So Eric Scott does have a chance to compete to stay on the active roster,
And
and
that's another one. That's crazy.
I'm excited to see that as well. Last one, man, that I am pumped about. We got the Dono injury, and I believe he's due to miss sometime. But Wanye Thomas, bro, that was
That's
your boy that you were calling out from the beginning, and I know you got to be pumped to have him back or to have him on the roster.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with Dan Quinn, man. He loves the safeties, and these guys are all going to be playing different roles, man. So we got a lot of them, and he want to keep them around. Like it's not like we don't have these guys signed for the future. You know what I'm saying? They all going to be in the building. But if you think about it, right? So you know, what I mean, we got all these big boys just playing big up front, right? You see them kind of prioritizing the big defensive tackles right now, but at the same time they're prioritizing these smaller safeties. So if you look at it philosophy wise, I think they got some big boys that's going to clean things up front, and they want some fast guys in the backfield. Just going to play fast and find their way to the ball. So we ain't got to worry about guys getting downhill on them if they can't get to the second level, and it looks like that's the way we're going.
That is a fair point, man. And the last thing I think my biggest concern that we really didn't take care of is the kicking position, man. All these kickers getting traded around the league, and Brandon Aubrey, bro. Like, I just hope I hope he can make kicks when it matters, bro.
And honestly, that's all we can do. And I will say this: the minute they made that cut and he was the solo guy, he was out there getting all the reps. He looked better and better. You know what I mean? He missed. I think it was like a 59-yard kick, but then he came right back out. He had some redemption and he made a big one after that. And honestly, he been pretty spot on. Now it we don't know how it's gonna go. You know what I mean? We haven't really seen him over any. You know what I mean? We just got that small sample size, right?
Right.
So. Uh, we just got to kind of have faith in it. The kicker position has been a question mark for a little while here. You know what I mean? We thought Brett Maher, when he came in, he looked good. And then, like, the wheels just came off on him, man. And it's something that we haven't been able to settle to and kind of have any consistency. So, man, hopefully he's that guy. And if he doesn't, hopefully they just pivot fast, man. Don't sit on it too long like we did last year. You know what I mean? Give him 4 or 5 games. I don't
Yeah.
want to hear them saying, "Hey, you know what I mean? This our guy." Hell, like get him out the door, man. Let's keep it pushing.
Yeah. That no. That I'm still kind of torn on the Maher thing because like I said, like you said, we don't know much about Brandon Aubrey, but like Maher wasn't terrible. Like he did get the job done for the most part. You know what I mean? Who? So we got football starting next week. We got the Giants on Sunday night, and who are you most excited to see make hit the field Sunday night?
Most excited for? Honestly, I'd be lying if I didn't say Michael, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? I just feel like he's on his defensive player of the year trajectory. And not only that, I just feel like it's about to be different this year. Day one, we've been seeing how he was wrecking camp all like from day one. And then just let's just see him out there against another team. He'll get a good test, Andrew Thomas, and they got some good tackles over there with the Giants right now. Let's see how that go. And mainly, Pollard in that RB1 role. Like
Yeah.
now that we finally got Pollard here, he's finally getting all the touches. That and if it was anything I was excited to see, like separate from the players itself, it would just be Mike McCarthy in his offense. I want to see what he does differently. You know what I mean? Versus what Kellen Moore was doing. How it's all going to look. How is he really going to support his defense? So when you think about it, Kellen Moore had all the stats. and all look good from a passing standpoint. But when you talk about situational football, I think Mike McCarthy, he's a winning football coach. He knows what he want to do, right? So
Right.
when he sees the defense gets a little tired, he's going to change the game. But when he see his running back getting high, he's going to feed him. He's not just going to pass the ball. When you see Dak, you know what I mean, getting a little jittery in the pocket and the offensive line and the left tackle over here, I think he's going to slow it down and they're going to be doing a little bit three-step drops, different things like that. I think he understands a little bit more. And, we ain't got to be getting 40, 30, 40 points a game, 40 burgers. As long as we're getting those dubs at the end of the day,
Right.
I think that's all that matters. And I think we're about to see a different ball club. And the team together, like the mindset, I mean, you hear it all around, man. I think all the guys right now, we hate to always talk that Super Bowl. You know what I mean? We get to the playoffs and whatever. It's a new year though. And these guys it seems like they all bought in, right? And
Right.
I seen a story today about Jordan Lewis, and he made his way back. It's good to see him. I even seen Pat Walker. He posted a clip, and you know what I mean. He talked about Jordan Lewis being step for step with Kevontae Turpin, and
Hmm.
he's just getting back in there, right? But outside of all of that was him saying, he was kind of at his lowest after this injury. And, he said Dan Quinn came to his house and visited him. He was going through it mentally. Al Harris, all the players came and checked in on him, was like, nah, we ain't letting you know what I'm saying? We ain't letting you fall, bro. We here with you. And that was a big step in his rehab. And he was like, it just shows you, what I mean, his team and how everybody's for each other. And I thought that was dope.
That's kind of what I was going to tell you too. Is it does seem like this team seems to be a lot more bought in compared to recent years, especially compared to those Garrett years. Um, I got high hopes, man, for this team this season, and we're what, like 10, 11 days out.
Yeah. And it's getting closer and closer, man. It's like I want to fully dive into this Giants game, man. Really, we're gonna give it another week. But look, we may just I mean, get into it a little bit, get some a little pre breakdown, start breaking down some matchups, what we want to see out of that game. We ain't gonna hop into it too much, but at the same time, I mean, I know we all ready, man. I know Michael ready. I know the boys ready. Hopefully, we see a lot of Cowboy fans down there. I'm trying to take over New York for real.
For sure. But before we get out of here, I did want to talk to you about two things off topic. Chris Jones and Bosa are holding out. What are the odds they get these deals worked out before week one? And how big of an effect do you think this is going to have on the Micah Parsons contract next season?
Well, I think directly, I think Bosa will definitely have a big impact. Whatever he gets, obviously, I think he's looking to reset the market, right? So him, what I mean, that's major. Chris Jones himself, I don't think it's little to no effect. He's already lost like $1.8 million at this point. I think at some point he's gonna show up.
Yeah.
It's kind of hitting the pockets right now, you know what I mean? But with Bosa, what I mean, I think it's a deal that's gonna be done soon, man. And for sure, Mike is sitting there checking it all, and he wants his money and whatever he wants. Hey, let's pony up and get him what he needs.
And that's kind of what I was getting at. Because if I'm San Francisco, I'm on the phone with Bosa. Like, what's your number, bro? All right, come on. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
that's your guy.
thanks.
And then that's gonna be us on the phone next season. That's about it from my side. Before we get out of here, don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. You got any final words?
Hey man, look, it's almost that time. Hey, the season gearing up, and as it's gearing up, man, look, we're gonna be dropping more and more. So hey, stay tuned in, tap in with us. At the end of the day, it's the quest for six, man. So don't worry about the outside noise, man. It's Cowboys Nation only, man. You know what time it is. Appreciate y'all, man.